Good morning and welcome to Frontiers of Knowledge segment of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. COVID-19 came, stayed, and is staying. It's become a bugbear. The placid life that we were leading has been changed and is changing. And the pervasive changes in different sectors, in different areas, in different ways, significant, sometimes ridiculous, are there. Nobody can deny that the year 2020 was defined by coronavirus pandemic, and it may not have been the worst pandemic the world has seen, because as far as the deaths are concerned, there were more deaths in the earlier levels. But the fact that there are 75 million cases, more than that till date, that there is no end in sight, that the vaccines are also being taken not very seriously, and already 1.7 million people have died. That is important. But what's still more important is that this disease, this illness has affected our everyday life, every aspect of life, work, school, even getting groceries, and even the way we dress. And I find that the changes are really not very palpable, but they are penetrating our very thoughts. The first thing that has changed, or rather, which has been visibly known, is the new vocabulary has been added. Not a bad thing by itself. Every year, every language gets new words. English gets a maximum new words. But the new words and the phrases have been coined. They somewhat there already, but their use has been changed. We were told we need to have social distance or stay 6 feet apart. That we could flatten the curve. The flatten the curve is a new phrase, so is a new way of social distance. People became familiar with relatively obscure epidemiological terms. Did you ever know that R naught? Now, R naught is basic reproduction number. Were you aware the average number of people who carry the virus from a single infected person? Even the word COVID-19 itself is a new term, and it was on February 11, 2020, that the WHO officially named the disease with this number. That is one change. Our vocabulary has enhanced. The second change, our dress. We were becoming less formal, leisurely, but now we are becoming ultra lazy and leisurely. Sweatpants are replacing the dress pants, and we are becoming much more informal, which is not bad by itself, but it changes the very concept of our office work. The people who used to be formally dressed are now semi dressed. People work on Zoom, on Meet, Microsoft Meet, and they are dressed up to the teens, waist up. Below that, who knows? They might be in their drawers. But the change is there. People have become less formal. And then there's a fashion item. is a small piece of cloth to put around your face. Mask. Enthusiasm was seen when the sewing enthusiast started stitching masks at home. Then PPP, personal protective clothing. So fashion, adding masks has become a fashion line. And in many parts of the world, you cannot leave home without putting on a mask. So this is a change. But the third change is anxiety and depression. The mental health of the people has suffered a lot. More people have become anxious, depressive, and are almost on the fringe of going mad. According to a study published in the, I think it was published in September, yes, by CDC, they found that the level of anxiety, depression, and suicidal thoughts have skyrocketed in this period. And the reason was simple: isolation, school, office, university closure, unemployment, financial worries, as well as the threat of the disease itself. Coupled with an increase in anxiety and depression, there has been tremendous increase in domestic violence. The cases of domestic violence have increased hundredfold. As a matter of fact, as I wrote in one of my articles the other day, the biggest pandemic which is not being talked about is domestic violence. And it is becoming a way of life for many people. In lower middle classes, it's increasing much more. The husbands, in frustration, in mental anguish, are taking it on their wives. Children are suffering. They are witnesses. Then another side effect, insidious side effect, is pandemic drinking. The alcohol consumption has increased. Are you aware that the alcohol consumption has increased from 14% to 28%, depending on the countries? And most of the people who have started drinking are those who never drank before, especially women. They have two problems. One is the depression, being victims of domestic violence, and then their sense of relationship. They are more sensitive, so they take to drinking. So it leads to worsening mental health. Mental health, which is otherwise an effect, is further enhanced by the drinking binge that is taking place. And then the new normal, as businesses started to open after the initial lockdown to be closed again, people needed to adjust to a new normal to reduce the risk of the spread of the disease. But the disease didn't stop. There are new variants coming up. There's a new variant in England. There's a new variant coming up in South Africa. There's a new variant coming up in Nigeria. And that is, as a matter of fact, enhancing the new normal. Businesses have implemented universal mask policies. Dining, restaurant dining, hotel dining is a thing of the past. Maybe some outdoor dining can be there, but not in the Canadian winter. Waiting rooms have become a thing of the past. You need a reservation to go to the gym if the gym is open. And large gatherings, events were banned completely in many areas. So the new normal is no social activity, No personal activity until and unless it's in isolation. And that is happening despite the fact that it no way ensures zero risk. That's not possible. You can take all the precautions and yet you can get COVID 19. However, with a increase now, the lockdowns are becoming curfews. We have curfew in Quebec, here in Canada. We have almost curfew in UK, night curfew in France, and even in Canada, Ontario is considering having curfew shortly. Then another thing that has been very, very consequential is rampant rumors. Wow, the number of rumors that you see, especially because of social media and WhatsApp is the worst, I shall say, criminally involved in this. One day you receive a WhatsApp message drinking bleach can kill the coronavirus. And that is the theory came that virus was created as a bioweapon. Whether it was or not is controversial. But the way the rumors spread, scaring people, or the drinking bleach, which is a poison, is dangerous. According to a study published in the American Journal of Tropical Medicine, pandemic has been responsible for more than 2,000 rumors, conspiracy theories, and reports of discrimination. And such false information, such rumors can have serious consequences. As a matter of fact, these rumors have been responsible for thousands of hospitalizations and hundreds of deaths. Health agencies connected with COVID 19 in real time, local communities, government stakeholders try to debunk the misinformation. But people, when they read something on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, and more especially, as I said, on the university, WhatsApp university, believe it to be true, which is wrong. As a matter of fact, you have got to see the sort of the person who is sending a message is reliable. Has he done the research? But then that is a different topic we'll take up separately. But rampant rumors is one of the major changes brought on, and not only the rumor themselves, but the credulousness of the people in believing the rumor. Then we have a strange phenomena called pandemic puppies. When the people are staying at home and the social life was coming to nil, people thought, okay, my siblings, my parents, they are given. Let me have a new friend. So they went to a furry friend. And it has been a boon for pet adoption, particularly dog adoption. Many shelters, breeders, pet stores have reported a surge in application for dogs, and the demand far outstrips the supply. Some shelters have doubled the number of adoptions compared with the previous year. Now, this is a good news for the pets who need homes, but possibly it's good for the human beings as well because the pet ownership does have mental health benefits. It gives you a sense of stability because the human contact is being lost. Maybe nature is asserting. Then school closures. Children seem to be largely spared from the most serious effects of COVID 19, but they can still be the spreaders of the disease. So, the school closures, practically the whole of year 2020, was virtual learning, online learning. question how to safely reopen is a matter of debate. Many schools, winter has come and many schools are still closed. State-wise polls have found that 90% parents are worried about their children's education. One thing positive change, we have been talking about negative, that is the prophets of doom should make be happy. They are lowered emissions. The lockdowns, which slowed the normal hustle and bustle of the cities, almost came to a complete halt in many cases. And there have been dramatically lower emissions of carbon dioxide. A study in Nature Climate Change journal found that the carbon dioxide emission dropped by 17% in 2020 as compared to 2019. This is the biggest drop in the recorded history. In India, the news was there that the dolphins were found in the Ganges River, and some were found as near Delhi in Meerut, about 60 kilometers west of Delhi. Imagine it, dolphins, and that is a good news. But this is a temporary drop. Although this is likely to change to the largest emissions, as a matter of fact, after the Second World War, this is the first time the emission has been there. But it is there. So this is a positive thing. And now, ingenuity. Normally, when you develop a new vaccine, it takes years. But in an unprecedented feat, researchers developed vaccine in just under 8 months. When 2020 began, COVID-19 and the virus that causes it, SARS-CoV-2, were unknown to science. But once it was identified, in March, the early human trials started. Late September, it was ready for advanced trials. And then in December, it's available. Now people are getting vaccinated. Both vaccines, or rather varieties of vaccines, whether it's of Moderna or Pfizer, are Indian. They have used molecules known as mRNA, and they stimulate the immune response to coronavirus. Good. So this is a positive thing too, human ingenuity and foreign emissions. How long that continues, especially foreign emissions, is a matter of debate. But one thing is definite, that our life, our way of thinking, our social interaction, our vocabulary, our problems, especially about domestic violence, depression, mental health, they have changed beyond recognition. And COVID-19 is responsible for all these changes. COVID-19 has had more impact on changing the world than earlier pandemics had, because earlier pandemics, though they were pandemics, did not have global reach, and they spread much slowly. And by the time they spread to the other countries, the countermeasures could be adopted. But now, with the advances in transportation, travel, the spread was absolutely beyond imagination. And the global impact, though the mortality rate is less, the weakening of the human immune system, weakening of the social structure, weakening of the human will is much more horrendous. Well, has your world changed? You know it better. But I can assure you it must have changed, whether you are aware of that or you are not. Thank you.